Hey, hello everyone. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us for this conversation about in honor of National Mentoring Month about becoming a Generation Hope mentor. My name is Caroline Griswold Short. I'm the director of programming here at Generation Hope, and I am really thrilled this evening to be joined by three of our amazing mentors who are going to share a little bit more about their experiences with Generation Hope, their experiences mentoring, and share a little bit more about what that's been like for them. So I'm going to ask each of our mentors to start off by introducing themselves, sharing how long they've been a mentor with Generation Hope, and then just telling us a little bit about the scholar that they're matched with. So Anwesha, I'll start with you.
Sure, I can kick us off. Hi, everyone. Anwisha Majumdar, she, her pronouns. I've been a mentor with Generation Hope for about a year and a half now. And my scholar is Izzy, who is this awesome person. She is currently doing her bachelor's degree in social work and also works as an aide with the DC Public Schools. Yeah, she's great. She's super fun, very funny, and we have a good time together.
Thank you so much. Yes, I've had the pleasure of working with Izzy for several years, and she's such a joy. Wonderful. Kimberly, I'll pass it to you next.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Rao. I have been a Generation Hope Scholar for about a year and a half as well. My awesome scholar is Laurel, and she is a nursing student in a joint program between Community College of Baltimore County and Towson University. And she has a fabulous 5-year-old son named James.
Yes, and I know that Laurel just earned her associate's degree through the program and then it goes straight to a bachelor's, which is so exciting. So, so
Yes.
proud of her. Wonderful. And then Tamika, I will pass it to you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tamika Cage, and I have been a sponsor for just over a year. I joined a little late in the last school year, but just happy to be aboard. My scholar's name is Alexis, and she actually just got her associates as well. And also she had another baby last year, so now she's the mother of two beautiful little girls, and she's now, I believe, at ODU, and she's studying psychology.
Yes, thank you, Tamika. And Alexis didn't skip a beat, new baby, and just kept straight on going. So amazing. Wonderful. Thank you all so much for joining us. So I will ask each of you, how did you find out about Generation Hope, and why did you decide to become a mentor? And Tamika, I'll go in the opposite direction. I'll start with you.
So I'm a big reader. I actually have an Instagram account that has over 15,000 followers, like dedicated to books by Black authors. And I so happened to see the founder of Generation Hope's book. And it sparked my interest because I was also a teen mother who took her child to college. And I was like, wait a minute, how have I never heard of this book? And I looked up the book, and then I was like, hold on, this organization is in DC. And I'm like trying to find, I'm like, okay, I always choose an organization to donate to monthly. So I was like, okay, they're going to be my, I think it was like my July donation or something like that. And then I looked further, it was like, oh, you can actually mentor the students involved. And I ended up signing up immediately to be a part of that. And I got there late in the game because I think everyone had been matched, but they were able to find me a match. But one of the, like, this is very important to me because it was mentors like this that helped me when I was trying to get my degree with my little one as well.
I love that. And I did not know you were a Bookstagram celebrity. That's pretty amazing. Very, very cool. Wonderful. Yeah. And one of the things that we love is when we can is for folks who've had the experience of being a student parent to come and mentor with us. And we've been able to bring in some of our alumni actually as mentors recently, which has been so exciting. So we love folks who have had that experience when you're able to find out about us. So Kimberly, I'll throw it to you next. How did you find out about Generation Hope, and why did you decide to get involved?
Sure. So somebody had posted about the opportunity on a local Facebook page, a local Facebook group, and I read about it and hadn't heard of the organization before. So I checked out the website. I'm an education researcher, so I'm passionate about education. I know how much I appreciated the support that I received to earn my degrees. And so it was exciting to be able to support somebody else who was going through the same journey.
Wonderful. Yes. Thank you so much. We get a lot of folks in the education space who, maybe don't have that one-on-one connection in their jobs, or maybe they used to and now they don't, and really love the opportunity to get connected more on the ground level. So I love that. And Anwisha, how about you?
Yeah, so I heard about Generation Hope through, I was looking for mentorship opportunities. I had a few friends who were doing mentorship, but mostly for, like younger kids. And so I just, went into scientist mode and did my literature review on mentoring organizations in the DC area, and really loved that Generation Hope really focuses on student parents, and also focuses on both generations. I thought that was a really valuable model. And actually, when I first found Generation Hope, the cycle for mentors had just ended. So I put a reminder in my Google Calendar in for the next year so I could remember to apply. So as soon as it opened the next year, I was like, yes, I will be first in line.
That's awesome. And we love a Google Calendar reminder. So thank you for that. I think this is such a great sort of example of the different ways that folks come to us. And, we always say there's no one way to be a mentor. There's no one right mentor. We have people who, like Tamika was sharing, share lived experience with our scholars, others who have professional experience that's relevant, others who have just a big heart and want to be a part of someone's life. And we found that any of those relationships can be really successful. It's really about a mentor who's kind and caring and non-judgmental, and really someone who's just willing to show up and just keep showing up, regardless of what's going on. That's the most important thing for a really great mentor. And I'll let whoever wants to take this question sort of take it. As a mentor, you support your scholar throughout both the challenges and the successes of their college journeys. Can you share about a special or memorable moment that you've shared with your scholar? So if there's somebody who feels moved to take this question. Kimberly, yes.
I will go. I'm going to share two memories. One is an early memory and one is a recent memory. But I remember very early on, Laurel was studying for exam and she was stressed. And I said, let's hop on a Zoom call and let's study together. And she had note cards. And I just listened to her, kind of practicing. She was doing definitional stuff and different kinds of medication, and just kind of listening and being there to have a study partner. And that was early in her program. And now she, of course, has a cohort of students that she's met and she's kind of come together and they have a study group. But we felt special to be there for her, in that early place. And then you mentioned earlier, Caroline, that Laurel just graduated with her associate's degree from the Community College of Baltimore County. And I was at her graduation with her parents and her son. And it was so exciting and everybody was just so proud. She was proud. And one of the things she said was that she was proud to be a role model for her son. So for him to be in that moment and to get to witness that was really pretty special. And now she's going on for her bachelor's degree. So I look forward to being at that graduation as well.
Yes, I love that. And I think that first example, sometimes just being with someone in the journey is what it's about. You don't have to be, I don't know what she was studying, but you don't have to be an expert in that subject. I have sat with many scholars studying for a biology test that I am not going to tutor them, but I can help you read the index and quiz you, and I can just be there with you while you're making those flashcards. I don't have to know the subject to be a partner with you on that journey. And oftentimes what they need is not necessarily someone who knows the subject. They need someone who's going to sit with them and say, you can do this and I believe in you and let's do it together. And, I'm going to study something that's hard for me too. I'll bring my own work too, even sometimes. So I love that. And I love that multi-generational graduation. I think that was one of the big things that I missed in graduations during COVID, was being able to see not just the scholars walk, although of course that's amazing, but being able to see the children watch their parents walk. And was something that's so special that I'm so glad that it's back. Okay, who else would like to share a special moment with their mentee, excuse me.
Yeah, I can share something that actually happened pretty recently. So Izzy and I have a great rapport and love to talk about our nails and things like that. But in helping her with some of the more like schoolwork oriented things. One of the things she's been trying to do recently is take her CLEP test. She's a fluent Spanish speaker, and that it's a great opportunity for her because it would knock some credits off of her degree requirement. And we had been working with Avery, her Hope coach, to figure out the logistics for taking this test. And this is something that we've been working on since December. There were like technology issues and like venue issues and all of these things. And last week we finally were able to get it together. And I guess like whatever software they needed only worked on Windows 10 computers, and most computers have upgraded to Windows 11, but I am very lazy with my software upgrades. So my personal laptop is still running on Windows 10. So we made it work where Izzy and I found a time to get together and take the test. And she texted me yesterday that she got her results and she passed. So that was really exciting. It was like something that we worked on together. And like, I'm not a fluent Spanish speaker, so I couldn't, you know, help her study for the test, but the logistics, like that's something I can help with, and sharing that with her. And now that's one fewer class she has to take. It was really exciting.
I'm obsessed with that story because it rewards software update procrastination, which I think is very, you know, kind of feels very validating to me as someone who is always being like, try again tomorrow every time it tells me to update my software. I think that also like really illustrates that just the systemic barriers that our scholars sometimes face. Like there's this test, she speaks fluent Spanish. This should be a simple thing. Like let's like point A to point B feels like a very straight line here, but I have been kind of on the sidelines of this story, watching this go on for months, being like, how is this test still not happening? And it's nothing that Izzy did. There's like endless tech and bureaucratic issues. So I think it's such a good example of like, it shouldn't be that hard, but somehow, why is this so hard? And I'm so glad that you didn't update your computer. You probably should, but I think that's really great. And I'm so glad to hear that she was able to do that. That's wonderful. Tamika, anything that you want to share about an experience that you've had with your mentee?
Yes, but I just want to say the engineer in me is cringing at you guys not updating.
I knew you were going to say that. She's like, please God.
Security update, do it immediately. If it's just like for new features, wait on that. Because I try not to update, like when the iPhone has new software, I try to delay it because you know it's going to be buggy. But recently, well, this is what I noticed when I first started mentoring my scholar, because we would come together. Sometimes we just go and we just have dinner and we talk. But one time we did like a painting exercise and we both brought our children. Now, my daughter's around the same age as her. And I kind of see the difference in their dynamics, like where, you know, my mentee is gonna, you know, she's all about her children. She's gonna come home, she's gonna work, versus my daughter who is trying to find the nearest party. It's just like a different dynamic. But after she had her second kid, I'm like, and I talked to her and she was like, this is literally the first time I've left the house. It's like, let's start doing things where you can be an individual, because I know for, you know, a huge or most of my life, my identity was tied to being a mother and there was no outlet. Now I'm an empty nester. You know, half the time I say, I don't only have any children, you know. But actually this past weekend we went to a Wizards game and she had never been to a game, and we got to like share that experience. And, you know, we talked about our kids, but for the most part, it was just two mommies, you know, having a night out.
I love that. And I think it's so wonderful for our scholars to have opportunities where they don't have to just be mommy and they can be just themselves and just that young person who, you know, is still also figuring things out and wanting to have experiences. But I also love that story because it shows how the mentoring kind of goes both ways. Like I bet your daughter also walked away with something of like, oh, you know, life could, you know, there's a priority that one of my peers has that I don't have. And I mean, I'm sure she also knows that from your experience too, but I think so many of our mentors love to also connect their families, because it's a way for your families to also have this connection and meet someone new and, you know, really form those relationships. So that's so wonderful. So as you know, we are in National Mentoring Month, which is a nationwide celebration of the importance of mentoring, which I love. And we are also really kicking off our mentor recruitment season right now. And we're really excited because we are in year 3 of a very ambitious, robust strategic plan that is calling for us to grow our scholars to 175 this year, which will be the biggest group of students we've ever had, which is requiring us to recruit a huge group of mentors, which is really wonderful and exciting. And so what advice or encouragement would you offer someone who's considering mentoring a scholar? What would you tell them? And maybe, let's see, Anwaisha, I'll start with you.
Sure. I think I would just encourage you, if you're thinking about it, but if there are like certain questions you have, first, like to reach out. Every person I've spoken with at Generation Hope has been super helpful and kind. But I think honestly, I would say like, just do it, just jump into it, because I know I was a little worried when I started, like, is this going to be too much of a time commitment? I was also a little bit worried about, what do I have to offer as a mentor, but it's been a really great experience for me, certainly, and I hope for Izzy as well. But I think it's also like that mentoring mentee mentor relationship is great. I think it's also been really nice to meet other people in the community, like other mentors. And it's just been a really rewarding experience. So I would say if you're thinking about it, just do it.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yes. And I think that question about time commitment comes up a lot. And one of the things I always say is, look, your scholar's going to love you, but they are so busy. Like people often say, well, what if my scholar wants to get together every day? I'm like, no offense, but your scholar does not have time to see you every day. I can almost guarantee it. So I think that that's a really good point. We've tried to design the program such that it's really manageable, not just for the mentor, but truly for the scholars, so that we're not, we're not creating an unrealistic expectation. So I think that's a really good point. Tamika, I'll give it to you next. What advice would you give to someone who's thinking about mentoring?
I would say it's one of the most rewarding experiences you can have, because this particular niche of students, it's a very isolating experience as a student parent, because most of the time the people you are in class with, you can't relate to. Now, I have a similar experience as my scholar. However, the fact that you would join an organization where you know what's going on with them, you know what challenges they face, is just enough to say, hey, I'm just here to support you. Because sometimes as a student parent, like I remember being told, well, you can't go to college with that baby. What are you going to do? And it's like, well, I don't know, but we're going to figure it out. And I went to Michigan State University, and on that campus was a organization called Student Parents on a Mission, and it's specific to the school. But that organization, along with my engineering organization, is the reason I graduated. Like, I credit those two organizations, because on one end, I'm supported as a student parent. I mean, they were finding us scholarships like Generation Hope does. They were connecting us with other student parents. So I think that it's important to support organizations like this and support these students, because I think we can all complain about the world and what's going on with people, but I think Generation Hope is an opportunity for you to actually help and not sit on the sidelines.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I'm so glad that you found that on your college campus. It's so rare, and has even, in the past, even rarer than it is now. So I'm so glad you ended up at a university that had that level of support, because I wish that I could say I was not surprised, but it's so unusual for schools to have support like that, especially, in the past.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be the first teen parent to go to college to get a degree. And I'm like, wait a minute, this organization is like 10 years old at that point. Like, it had, been happening. And I think I needed to see that to know that it was possible.
That's so true. And I think it's one of those things where we often say that student parents are usually an invisible minority, but not that small of a minority, right? Like 1 in 5 undergraduate students is parenting. So it is a minority, but it's a pretty sizable minority, but you would never know, because generally speaking, students aren't bringing their children to campus, or they're not most of the time, and they may not be disclosing that they're student parents. So as far as our scholars will always say, like, I think I'm the only one. And I'm like, I promise you're not, but it can easily feel that way. So I think that visibility and having an organization like that to say, hey, you're not actually the first person to ever do this, is so important. So I love that. And Kimberly, how about you?
Sure. I'm just going to echo what Anwaisha said in terms of worrying about what I had to offer. I wasn't a student parent. I am not a nurse, and I was never a nursing student, and the expertise and the things that she's learning are so over my head. But what I was able to give, what I am able to give, and I know that she appreciates it, is that I cheer her on and encourage her and remind her that she absolutely can do this. And if she needs a break, that I'm there to help give her a break. And so she's fantastic. She's smart and driven, and to watch the relationship with her son is absolutely lovely. And she's doing it. She's earning her degrees. She's achieving her goals. And I feel like a small part of that, but it's super rewarding, and that's all it takes. So that's what I would say. It's not a lot of time, and it's a lot of encouragement. And I think that's a really easy thing for us to be able to do for somebody else.
That's great. I always think that I'm so proud of you are like the 5 most powerful words in the English language. And I don't think anyone hears that enough, and especially our scholars. So just having someone say, like, I'm proud of you 100% of the time. I texted that to one of my scholars the other day, because I was like, I want you to know that I'm proud of you when you're doing well, but I'm also proud of you when you're struggling, because you're not giving up. And I think, oftentimes our scholars, like you said, are told so often that they can't go to college and that they won't succeed. And just having someone believe in them and show up for them and know that they have something to offer the world is a really powerful thing. I think everybody needs that. Whether you're a student parent or not, everybody needs that.
I will just add to, at her graduation, this was really sweet. At her graduation, I was talking to her dad, and he was looking over at her, and he said, do you see her face? That's confidence. She knows she can do it now. Right? Because she got that 1 degree behind her, and now she's going on for her bachelor's. And to see him looking at her and to say, like, it's the confidence. We knew she could do it. She did it. And now she knows it too, was really a powerful moment.
That's beautiful. I love that. And one of the things that we found too is, so the large majority of our scholars are first generation college students, about 70-80%. And when we did our alumni survey recently, we surveyed all of our alumni for the first time in our history. And about more than a third of them said that their earning their college degree had inspired somebody else in their life to do the same. Family members, or not even just specifically their children, but like family members, friends, parents even. And so when we think about creating legacies of education, we often think about, okay, they went to college, so their children will go to college. And that's definitely true. But it's also the people around them are inspired and see that possibility for themselves also, which I just think is a beautiful kind of like an afterglow almost of the degree that they've earned. So I want to take a few minutes before we close out and just share with folks a little bit more about what it does mean practically to be a Generation Hope mentor. And I want to actually double click on something that Anwisha said earlier, which is she mentioned her Hope Coach. And I realized I should have explained what that was. So every mentor-mentee pair at Generation Hope is matched with someone that we call a Hope Coach, which is essentially like a case manager who is a staff person at Generation Hope. And their role is, first of all, to support your scholars. So that is the person that your scholar can go to if they're like, my financial aid is messed up. I don't know what to do. I'm not sure what classes to take. I have a housing issue. I'm having an issue with my food stamps, whatever it may be. And that's one of the things that we always want to tell mentors, because you don't have to be a financial aid expert to be a mentor at Generation Hope. If you happen to be one, that's wonderful. We'll gladly take your expertise, but we have folks on our staff who are there to kind of provide those professional networks and referrals and understand how class registration works and transfer works and all of that stuff. So that person is there to support that. And then that person is also there to support your mentoring match. So if you're ever having trouble with your mentees, with your mentor-mentee relationship, if you're not sure how to handle something comes up, they say something that you're not sure what to do with, anything like that, your Hope Coach is there to support that relationship and make sure that you feel comfortable and confident that you have a plan to move forward. So we really want to make sure that our mentors feel really supported by our staff here. So that's one thing I always want to mention, because it's not like we just kind of hand you your mentee and sort of throw you out and say, like, good luck, talk to you in 4 years when they graduate. Like, it's not that. So as far as the time commitment of mentoring, I know we've talked about this a little bit, that it is pretty manageable. So we're asking folks to meet with their scholars at least once a month for at least an hour. Some folks are still meeting virtually, although it's really wonderful that folks are feeling comfortable to meet in person now, because I think everybody enjoys that, and getting back to Wizards games and dinners out and all of that fun stuff that really, I think people did a great job virtually. We had some really creative mentee meetings virtually as well. But really encouraging folks to, start meeting in person again if they're comfortable doing that. And then communicating with your mentee at least every other week. So that can be email, text, phone call. Our mentees generally prefer to text. We do a lot of texting. Seeing some nods here. But some of them will want to talk on the phone or Zoom or whatever everybody prefers. And then we also ask that mentors participate in training. So we do one training when the program first starts. That is like an all-day thing where we really provide you with some mentoring best practices. We try to make sure you understand the program policies and procedures, the resources available to you. And we do some exercises really to help you understand some of what your scholars might be facing. For those of our mentors who are not coming in as former student parents or former teen parents and may not have that context of, okay, what is it like to try to navigate this system? We really try to build in some exercises just to help make sure that you have a sense of course, every scholar's story is different, but have a sense of some of the things they might be up against. And then we also have you meet your mentee at that training so that you get to know them, and we do some getting to know you activities and really connect at that point. And then we ask all of our mentors to attend one additional training each year. It's always on a Saturday morning. There's 2 options that you can pick between. And those are really opportunities for you to just get some continuing education to help you continue to grow as a mentor. So we've had trainings focused on resource connections and how to connect your scholar with resources. We've had trainings focused on race equity, understanding how systemic racism is impacting, everything around us, and therefore the work that you do with your scholars. We've done trainings on communication skills, financial aid, all kinds of things. And then we have optional events throughout the year as well. And those, we do field trips, we have a holiday party, Valentine's Day party. So just different events that are just a chance if you're free and you want to come to connect with your mentee throughout the year. And then our program is unique because our mentors are also providing scholarship funding for their mentees. So $1,200 a year if their mentee is attending a 2-year college, or $2,400 a year if their mentee is attending a 4-year college. And it's a really direct, unique way to know exactly where that money is going, and to really be working with the person who that giving is supporting. So you're financially and emotionally invested in the success of that family. If that's a barrier for anyone, we really encourage you to reach out to us and talk to us, and we can help be creative, see if there are ways to work around it or help fundraise or anything like that as well.
So Caroline, I have a quick thing about the financial amount for
Please.
the scholars. If you have a company that matches the donation, you can do that.
Yeah,
So our company was able to split it with me.
Yeah, great point. Thank you. And so that's a great example. We can definitely help you be creative. We don't want anyone to not be able to mentor due to that piece of it. So we have about 2 minutes. So I just want to go around really quickly and just say if there's any one closing thought about maybe something you've learned from your experience as a mentor, or that you've learned from your mentee. If everyone could just share one closing thought, and I will let whoever feels moved start here.
I can go first. I really do just think it takes so little to make such a big impact. Laurel is doing it that's her, and I'm just on the side cheering her on. And I think it makes a really big difference.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just reflecting on what you said, Caroline, about the I'm so proud of you, like being the phrase that is not said enough. And I think especially during these pandemic times where people have been feeling really disconnected, it has been really lovely to have that kind of connection and feeling that relationship blossom and grow has been a great experience.
I love that. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And Tamika.
I think coming into a mentor-mentee relationship, the mentor tends to think that they are going to do all the giving, but when it comes to these things, they're very fulfilling. And as a person who, is quick to donate or write a check, I think it's important to also show up. Especially me, I can relate to the situation. So I actually owe it, to myself and to, other scholars to show up in spaces if I can. So I think this is very important work.
Thank you. I love that. And yes, it is. It's about showing up and being part of something and making that connection. So I really love that. Well, I want to thank our wonderful mentors so much for their not only engagement tonight, but their wonderful support of their scholars. You all are such great examples of the wonderful humans that we're able to bring into our scholars' lives and these great connections that we're able to make. So thank you all so much. And to anyone who's considering mentoring, please visit our website, generationhope.org/mentor, or you can always also reach out to us. I know our contact information is on our Facebook page. You can message us, email us, call us, and we will get back to you with any questions you have. We hope you'll get involved and have a wonderful evening. Thank you, everyone.